Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder Plays, and today we are going to be talking about Kleans Dead Matter stream. Let's get into it. So, the popular survival streamer has his hands on Dead Matter and has given us all the opportunity to see the game through his eyes and show us a glimpse of what we will all have to look forward to soon. We saw character creation, attributes, perks, occupations, guns, animations, and more. But in today's video, I want to focus on the character creation itself. There's just so much that happened in the short time of the Dead Matter viewing experience that it would feel dishonest and rather lazy to create just one overview video. There are a few separate boxes you will have access when creating a new character. These include prior occupation, character data, perk points, and perk selection. The point of having such in-depth character creation is to make every playthrough and every character unique and add a bit of spice and flavor to the game. Your strategies will change depending on the kind of character you create. The current occupations in the game are as follows: Unemployed, Construction Worker, Repairman, Farmer, Chef, Doctor, Firefighter, Police Officer, and Security Guard. Each of these occupations will give you a very distinct advantage and disadvantage in various situations. The occupation you select will also dictate what starter items you carry. So, let's see what each occupation gives you when starting out. With unemployment, you spawn with the clothes on your back and a melee weapon. Now, I'm not sure if it's a randomized melee weapon or a consistent one, but I'm sure we'll find out. Construction workers spawn with their work outfit and a melee weapon. The obvious improvement here is that I'm assuming you will have a hard hat, which is part of the construction worker's work outfit, and that will assumedly protect you from some blunt damage to your pretty skull. If you choose the repairman option, you will spawn with casual attire and a random melee weapon. I would assume a pipe or wrench would be appropriate for this occupation. Farmers will spawn with some basic clothes and a small backpack with survival gear. Man, this one is pretty interesting. Other than the farmer not wearing Armani or Gucci brands of clothing, it's very basic. But the interesting part is the survival gear. There are plenty of items you could consider survival. Perhaps you will spawn with some seeds, or maybe a knife, or even a compass. Who knows? Moving on to the chef, you will spawn with your work outfit and maybe also a kitchen knife. The only thing I want from this occupation is to spawn me in with that classic chef hat, mainly so we can look like that crazy dude from Skyrim in the Rat Way. If you choose the path of the doctor, you will spawn in your work clothes and have some basic medical supplies and also a melee weapon. What melee weapon would a doctor have, you may ask? Well, I would immediately assume a clipboard or pen, but perhaps you will have a scalpel instead. The firefighter will spawn in his work clothes and have a fire axe at the ready, which is actually going to be very useful for dealing with those zombies early on. And the police officer will spawn in their work uniform and come with some of their work gear, including a flashlight, service pistol, and less than half-filled magazine. The police officer comes with a few more items than the rest, so something tells me that I will see lots of police running around. Everybody wants to hate on the popo till the apocalypse starts, I guess. And finally, for the security guard selection, you will spawn with your security outfit and a melee weapon, perhaps a baton of some kind. As we can see, with no mods and a pure vanilla experience, the game is focusing on player diversity. Each player will have not only their own natural playstyle, but will be encouraged to change it up depending on the occupation they choose. How you decide to play a farmer will vary greatly from how you decide to play a firefighter. These occupations will also help diversify the groups you may join, and you can be an amazing asset to your friends even if you aren't good at PvP, because now you can create nutritious goods, you can plant sustainable crops, you can stitch up your buddies after their brutal battle at the power station. This kind of diversity in the player base is going to make for amazing role-playing, even if it isn't a role-playing server. But occupations are not the only thing you can decide when creating your character. You also have perks. Now, there are many different kinds of perks here, and I can almost guarantee that none of you want to hear me read them all off, regardless of how good or bad you think my voice is, but I will still take this time to talk about them just a bit. They seem to be inspired by games like Project Zomboid, and they offer various buffs and debuffs. An example would be the +4 points spent will give you the Amateur Cook perk, but if you want more points to spend elsewhere, you can give yourself the Awful Cook perk and receive 4 points to spend elsewhere. It appears you start with 8 points to spend as you wish, but like it says, you need to have a balance of 0 or more points in order to continue to the next stage. That means no negative points left. The perks also have their own categories, which are color coordinated. Yellow is listed as a trait, such as being a universal donor. Blue is a hobby, like being a chess player or perhaps you strength train. Green colored perks are skills, and these include the previously mentioned cooking skills and other things like metalworking. And finally, we have the red colored perk options that are labeled as stats, and these include things such as no fear or perhaps iron stomach. The other box you have at your disposal is the attributes box, listed under the character data section. Though these attributes cannot be improved upon while you play the game, you can affect them and change them now with your perk selections. These stats are locked in for the entirety of the playthrough. Below the attributes box is the skills box, and these include cooking, farming, mechanic, crafting, lockpicking, and medical. Something that was interesting to me is that combat is not a listed skill, so in terms of improving on that through an artificial means and not through your own effort as a gamer, you can't. That does not mean that there won't be perks that will give you certain advantages though. Once you complete this portion of the character creation, you can move on to the next portion, which is your character's appearance. I already know that there are some of you who will say, it doesn't matter because there are no third-person elements to this game. You can't see yourself. What's the point? Well, this is true. The appearance of your character is still extremely important because it directly affects how others perceive you. Even though you can't see yourself in real life, for example, in a third-person kind of way, you still dress a certain way, and sometimes you may even give thought to what you wear, or how you wear your hair, or style your beard, because you want to give a certain kind of vibe or perception to people around you. All that being said, let's keep going. So besides your starter character looking slightly like something you would see in a wax museum, you can change the hair color, hairstyle, facial hair, and facial hair color, facial structure, and even more. Once you create your character, you will be able to confirm that character you make and then spawn into the vast world. I know that there wasn't a ton of information on the appearance side of this video, but let's be honest, it's pretty self-explanatory. Make yourself look however you want within the game's parameters. Dead Matter is wanting to be unique and unlike any other survival game out there, and I believe it has a lot to offer to the veteran survival gamer and the new ones. I will be going over more of Kleans' stream in the near future, but this portion of his stream was important enough for me to want to make its own video. With that being said, I hand it over to you guys. What do you think of the perk system? What about the attributes and preoccupations? Do you agree with the spawning items that are dependent on the occupation? And how about the character's appearance? What would you add to make it a bit more varied? All that being said, if you guys like scares, survival, and scavenging, consider hitting that subscribe button, that like button, share this video with your friends, and I will see you all in the next one. Path out.